Wolf Brother, Chapter 20, off we go. Pretty exciting stuff. Clutching Torak's quiver, Renn raced to the edge of the trail and tripped on a tree root, spilling arrows in the dirt. Panic bubbled in her throat. What to do? What to do? Only moments before, she'd been pacing up and down while a flock of green finches tore at the yew tree's juicy pink berries, and Wolf tugged on the leash, uttering bark growls which Torak would have understood, but she just found worrying. Then the finches had fled in a twittering cloud, and she'd glanced down the hill. A gap in the fog had given her a clear view. She'd seen the stream rushing past a clump of spruce, and a big, dark boulder hunched beside them. Then the boulder had moved. Frozen in horror, she watched the bear rear up on its hind legs, towering over the spruce. The great head swung as it tasted the air. It caught her scent and dropped to all fours. That was when she'd run to the cave and screamed a warning to Torak, and got nothing back but echoes. Now, as the fog closed in again and she fumbled for her arrows, she pictured the bear climbing the hill towards her. She knew how fast bears can move. It could be here in moments. The rock face was too steep for her to climb. Besides, she couldn't leave Wolf. That left the cave. But every part of her screamed not to go inside. They'd be caught like hares in a trap. They'd never get out. Wolf's desperate tugging on the leash broke her panic. He was pulling her towards the cave, and in a flash she knew he was right. Torak was inside. They would fight it together. She plunged in, dragging packs and sleeping sacks behind her. The darkness blinded her. She ran into solid rock, hitting her head. After a breathless search, she worked out that the cave narrowed sharply to a slit. Wolf was already through, tugging at her to follow. She turned and edged sideways, quickly, then dropped to her knees and reached through the gap to drag the gear in after her. As she yanked in packs and bows and quiver, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe the gap was too narrow for the bear. Maybe they could hold out. Her water skin was wrenched from her hand with a force that slammed her against the gap and sent pain shooting through her shoulder. In a daze, she scrambled sideways into a hollow, yanking Wolf with her. The bear couldn't have moved that fast, she thought numbly. A deep growl reverberated through the cave. Her skin crawled. It can't get through the gap, she told herself. Stay still. Stay very, very still. From deep within the cave came a cry. Renn! Was Torak calling for help, or was he coming to help her? She couldn't tell, couldn't call out, couldn't do anything but cower with Wolf in the hollow, knowing she was too close to the gap, just 2 paces away, yet powerless to move. Some force was keeping her there. She couldn't take her eyes from that narrow slit of daylight. The daylight turned black. Knowing it was the worst thing to do, Renn leaned forward and peered through the gap. The blood roared in her head. A nightmare glimpse of dark fur flickering in an unfelt wind, a flash of long, cruel claws glistening with black blood. A roar shook the cave. Moaning, Renn jammed her fists against her ears as the roar battered through her, on and on till she thought her skull would crack. Silence, as shocking as the roar. Taking her fists from her ears, she heard a whisper of dust. Wolf panting. Nothing else. Slowly, Appalled at what she was doing, she crawled towards the slit, pulling the reluctant cub with her. She saw daylight again, grey rock face, the yew tree with a scattering of berries beneath. No bear. A shuddering growl, so close that she heard the wet champ of jaws, smelt the reek of slaughter. Then the daylight was blotted out, and an eye held hers. Blacker than basalt, yet churning with fire. It drew her. It wanted her. She tilted forwards. Wolf wrenched her back, breaking the spell so that she shrank out of the way just as the deadly claws sliced the earth where she'd been kneeling. Again the bear roared. Again she cowered in the hollow. Then she heard new sounds, the clatter of rocks, the groans of a dying tree. In its fury, the bear was clawing at the mouth of the cave, uprooting the yew and tearing it apart. Whimpering, she pressed herself into the hollow. Against her shoulder, the rock moved, and with a cry, she jumped back. From the other side, she heard stones shattering and earth being flung aside with lethal intent. She realised what was happening. The rock that formed this side of the gap was not, as she had thought, a part of the cave itself, but merely a tongue of stone that jutted up from the earth floor. The bear was clawing at its roots, digging them out like wood ants from a nest. Sweat streamed off her. She stared at Wolf. With a shock, she saw that he was cub no longer. His head was down, his eyes fixed on the thing beyond the slit. His black lips were peeled back in a snarl, bearing formidable white fangs. Something hardened inside her. "Not like wood ants," she whispered. The sound of her voice gave her courage. She untied the leash to give Wolf his freedom. Maybe he could escape even if she and Torak could not. Then she groped for her bow. The touch of the cool, smooth yew gave her strength. She got to her feet. Concentrate on the target, she told herself, remembering the many lessons Finn Kedin had given her. That's the most important thing. You must concentrate so hard that you burn a hole in the target. And keep your draw arm relaxed. Don't tense up. The force comes from your back, not from your arm. 14 arrows, she said. I should be able to put in a few of them before it gets me. She stepped out from the hollow and took up position.